So I guess now that it's October, I'm just going to try and review all the upcoming horror games, and to be honest, I'm really okay with that. Let's keep it going with Dead Season, a new indie game that mashes up turn-based tactics with some good old-fashioned undead chaos. So imagine if XCOM and Resident Evil had a baby and then just left it in the middle of a zombie apocalypse to fend for itself. Terrible, terrible parenting. Do better. So you control a small squad of survivors trying to make it through the aftermath of a zombie apocalypse. Which, you know, sounds like every other zombie game, right? Wrong! Every action you take makes noise, and noise attracts zombies. So yeah, that big old shotgun that you're eyeing up, risky business. But it's not all just about staying quiet. You've got to scavenge for resources, complete objectives, and outsmart the undead, and some pesky human enemies too. Every mission is basically a balancing act between survival, strategy, and making sure you don't end up as a zombie's yum-yums. Honestly, Dead Season isn't your usual zombie shooter. If you're looking for fast-paced action, this ain't it. Each mission plays out on a grid, where you move your characters, set up attacks, and try to stay alive. It's the classic turn-based system, but the noise mechanic adds a layer of tension that makes it feel really fresh. Every shot and every move, they all make a difference. Fire a loud weapon, you better believe more zombies are coming at you. It's kinda like playing chess, if the other player was a horde of the undead trying to munch your face off. What sets Dead Season apart is that it isn't a game where you can just shoot your way out of trouble. The noise mechanic forces you to think ahead. Do you just fire that gun and risk attracting a bunch of zombies? Or do you try and play it clever, sneak around them, and take them out quietly? You really have to think several moves ahead. And it's this constant tension that keeps the game exciting. There's also tons of progression features. As you fight your way through the campaign, you can level up your survivors and unlock new abilities. And it's a pretty solid progression system that lets you mold your squad into a zombie-slaying dream team. And you can build your survivors to match your playstyle, whether that's creating a stealthy team that avoids combat, or a more aggressive squad that can handle a fight, as long as they're smart about it. Scavenging is a big part of the game too. In some shape or form, each mission has you hunting for supplies, whether it's food, ammo, or just resources to help you survive your next encounter. But again, the game forces you to take tough decisions. You might find a stash of supplies in a building, but getting to them could require making a lot of noise, which could be a recipe for an untimely demise. And the variety of mission objectives helps to keep things interesting. One might have you rescuing survivors, while another might require you to hold off waves of zombies until rescue arrives. This variety of objectives forces you to adapt your strategy with each mission, and the challenges gradually ramp up as well, with tougher enemies and trickier objectives as you go deeper into the game. Now visually, Dead Season isn't going to win any awards, but honestly, it doesn't really need to. The art style is dark, gritty, and exactly what you'd expect from a zombie apocalypse game. Streets are littered with debris, buildings are falling apart, and the atmosphere is just full of dread. Every corner feels like it could be hiding a horde of zombies, and that sense of unease is one of the game's biggest strengths. Sure, the textures and animations can feel a bit basic at times, but what really stands out is the mood. Dead Season nails that creepy, everything is falling apart vibe. One cool thing that definitely deserves a shout out is how motion comics are used to tell the story. It gives the whole game this really cool graphic novel feel, like you're living through the pages of a post-apocalyptic comic book. If you dig stuff like The Walking Dead, this is definitely going to hit the right notes for you. Having said that, the story in Dead Season isn't anything revolutionary, but it never really needed to be. You're leading a group of survivors trying to make it through the chaos. Does it really need to be any more than that? They're not heroes, they're just regular people trying not to get eaten. While each mission does tell a little piece of a larger narrative, don't expect a lot of character development or emotional depth. The game is more about atmosphere than deep storytelling, and to be honest, that's what works for it. The focus is definitely on gameplay and survival, not on detailed character studies. And really, in a game about fending off zombie hordes, that's exactly what you want. So let's talk about the sound, because in Dead Season, sound is everything. It's absolutely not just background noise. It's a gameplay mechanic that literally determines your survival. Fire a gun, zombies will hear it, and they will come running. Break a window, you've just announced your location to every undead creature in the area. It's stressful, but in the best possible way. And the ambient sounds like distant groans and shuffling footsteps keep you on edge the whole time. There's very little music, and when it does pop in, it's usually to ramp up the tension. And honestly, it works. I'm a massive baby when it comes to scary games, and even something like this, I couldn't play in the dark. Feel free to judge me in the comments. Also, my advice would be to use melee weapons whenever you can. They're quiet, and let's be honest, there's nothing more satisfying than a hefty thwack on a zombie. So, should you play Dead Season? Well, if you like tactical games with a twist and don't mind getting a little bit scared, then yes, this game is absolutely worth a shot. The noise mechanic alone is enough to make it stand out from the crowd, and the turn-based combat is solid, satisfying, and full of nail-biting moments. Sure, the visuals are a bit rough and the story isn't anything to write home about, but that's not what you're here for. You're here to outthink, outlast, and outfight the undead, and on that front, Dead Season delivers in spades. If you're into more fast-paced, run-and-gun zombie shooters, this probably isn't going to be your jam, but if you're into strategy games and survival horror, this is one indie game that you're not going to want to miss. But what did you think of Dead Season? Please let me know in the comments below, I would love to read your thoughts. And while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe for plenty more on all things gaming, check out our movie channel UDS Films, and you can always visit UpsideDownShark.com to keep up with everything else we've got going on. Until then, my name is Tom, this has been UDS, and we'll see you next time.